Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another OITC meeting and another online meeting. I have frankly lost count of both, which meeting number this is and which online meeting number this is. A very warm welcome to all of you, and it is great to see 11 people showing up, although we don't have any other roles other than the speaker and the evaluator's role today. Thank you all. I genuinely wanted to get back to this for once in our meetings. For long, we have been trying to get as many speakers on board, on the podium, getting their speaking skills, honing their speaking skills and getting better at it. But one very important factor of Toastmasters is listening. And that's what we're going to do here today. All of us except Shreya. We are going to listen to her, and all of us are going to provide her with our evaluation. Do remember that evaluation is one of the cornerstone of Toastmasters, and feedback is practically the only thing using which we can grow. I don't know of any other way that we can grow. If anybody of you knows, do let me know, because I'm practically oblivious to that. So what we're going to do today is we have a designated evaluator for Shreya's speech, who is Abhijit Kaul. I'm going to invite him in a minute. All of us, what we'll do is we'll evaluate Shreya's speech on our own time. And at the end of it, whoever wants to give Shreya an evaluation in the meeting can come ahead and do that. That evaluation has to be small, not more than a minute. And whoever chooses to send her their evaluation via mail, via message, feel entirely free to do so. But I encourage everybody to try that, everybody to listen carefully and to be attentive towards that speech, so that you can contribute not only to Shreya, but also improve your own listening skills and evaluating skills. With that, I will not delay it anymore. I'll hand it over to our evaluator of the day, Abhijit Kaul. Welcome, Abhijit.
Good evening, fellow writers in the cloud. Today we are going to listen to a very special speech, and I say that because I know the title already. You'll get to know in a minute, and I'm really looking forward to it. Today, Toastmaster Shreya is going to give this much anticipated speech, which is her L1P2. The purpose of the project, I'll read it to you, is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. Shreya told me ahead of time to look into two specific things: that she should take pauses between sections and she should finish her sentences. This is the feedback that she received from her first speech. So I'm glad that you are continuing to work on the feedback while going beyond that. The title of her speech is very interesting, as I already said. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about Maslow's hierarchy and the triangle that goes by the famous philosophy from Maslow, that based on different needs of a human being. At the top is self-actualization, and it seems like at this stage in her life, Shreya is already there. Without taking too much time, Shreya, all the best for your speech. I am really looking forward to it. Orators in the cloud, please join me in welcoming the only speaker of the day, Toastmaster Shreya. Inner peace, Toastmaster Shreya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhijit. Just give me 1 second. Can you guys hear me? Well, before I start the speech, I just want to say thank you all for being here. I know this is probably very less because it's just one speech, and I'm very grateful that you're here to just hear me today. Okay, if somebody is taking note, you can start the time now. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I'm going to talk about a rather sensitive topic that has been a constant source of debate in my mind. Some of you might not connect with it, and it's okay if you don't. Today, my point is not to make you understand what I'm about to say, but just to make you question. And if you don't believe in the concept that I'm about to say, it's okay. Please feel free to treat whatever I say with a pinch of salt. Having given my disclaimer, let me start by saying something asking you something controversial. How many of you here think that humanity is the superior species and that we were meant to rise to the occasion and save this world? No, some of you do. Okay, it's a fair assumption. We might be here today because of that thought process. So it's okay if you feel that way. But if you strongly feel that way, again, you might not connect with what I'm going to say today. And that is okay. As long as I make you question, I've done my objective today. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, humanity thought that everything revolved around them. We thought that this beautiful sun was made for us, which shone every day its warmth on us. We thought that the star-adorned, beautiful night sky was made for us to appreciate. And we thought that all the animals around us were there for our betterment. And hence we prayed to everything. We prayed to the sky, the sun, trees, rain, animals, everything, because we thought they were solely there for our purpose. And we had to be grateful for all those gifts given to us. Only recently have we begun to realize that that is not actually the truth. We are just one of the million species inhabiting this earth, which is just one of the 9 planets revolving around a very normal-sized star. This star, in turn, is just one of the million stars in our galaxy, and such million galaxies actually make up the universe that we can comprehend. We are minuscule. We are just coincidentally coexisting in this energy state of the universe. Sounds pretty dire, doesn't it? You don't want to hear that. What if I tell you that this notion can be a source of happiness to people in life? Optimistic nihilism. I'm sure some of you have heard of this concept. Some of you probably believe in it, but some of you have not. And if you don't, that's okay. Like I said, and I'm reiterating, today my point is not to make you believe in what I say. It's to make you ponder on what you think you know. A nihilist is someone who does not associate a predefined meaning to life. An optimistic nihilist is just someone who derives happiness out of this fact. In the big picture of things, we really do not matter. Our actions, our thoughts, our shortcomings, our failures do not matter. To know this is to truly feel free. Because if we were not made for something higher, a bigger purpose, then that frees us to really do what we want to do to make ourselves happy in this one life that we were gifted. I know that this is a rather difficult concept to take in. And tomorrow some psychotic murderers might just come back saying that this is the reason, that I do what I do. But I believe that it's up to an individual to imbibe the concept to the extent that they believe in, and then put the full stop. When something inexplicably hurtful or heartbreaking happens to you, and you're just festering in angst, anger, hatred against someone or a bunch of people, sometimes it helps to just snap yourself out of that center of the whirlwind that you're in. Look at the world as a whole and see that it has moved on. When you see how things go as usual every day, you realize that probably none of this mattered. Nobody is overlooking things. Your happiness solely lies in your hands, and you are in charge of it. And sometimes not associating a lot of meaning, a lot of depth to yourself and your life actually makes it easier to live it. Does that mean that nihilists don't feel love? That's like asking if humans don't feel hunger. A love is as basic a human emotion as any other. Of course, nihilists do feel love, they feel attachment, but they try not to associate too much meaning or labels to the love. In a way, it is the kind of love that comes without a lot of expectations or weight on it. Nihilists feel everything, every emotion that a human feels, because guess what? They are humans too. It's just the way that they deal with it is probably a little different than other humans do. I want to reiterate my point today. I was not here to change your thought process. I just hope that I have planted this tiny seed of curiosity in your mind as to what nihilism is or what a nihilist is, without these preconceived set of notions that you can use to judge against the concept. I want to conclude today by saying that I do not claim to be a successful nihilist. I don't have the formula set and ready. But I do try on a daily, not on a daily basis, I do try to imbibe some of the concept, at least, of optimism in my life. Some days are difficult, especially the ones where you feel like even the ones you held closest to your heart didn't care about you. But some others, optimistic nihilism is the true source of my inner peace. Thank you.
I'd like to tell everybody that Shreya took 7 minutes and 10 seconds for her speech, and now we are going to take a minute to minute or a little more than that to collect our evaluations, and then we'll begin with the designated evaluator, and then whoever wants to evaluate Shreya, they are very much welcome to do that. So I am going to put a 1.5 minute on the timer, and then we are free to jot down our evaluation points.
Oh, what is the speech title, by the way? Sorry, I was not connected that.
Speech title was Inner Peace. Did you hear that?
Akshaya, you can type it in the chat. All right, our time is done. Abhijit, if you are ready with your evaluations, I'm gonna hand it over to you in another minute. Are you there?
As per the agenda, I was supposed to be at the end after everybody is done evaluating.
Was that so, Akshay? I'm not sure if Akshay had imagined this, but from what I understand, it would be better if you begin, because the designated evaluator being yourself, you can put forth all the points. If we stomp on your points, that wouldn't be the best. because you will eventually send your evaluation sheet to Shreya. So let's
I am okay with anything. I just thought that that is probably a better model because as I am more intimately involved with Shreya's evaluation,
Mhm.
if there are some points that people might have, I also don't want them to not bring it up just because I've already covered in my evaluation.
Fair point. All right. Okay. So we'll begin with general evaluation. Everybody will be welcome. Uh, this is kind of like a table topic session. Anybody who wants to give their evaluation, please raise your hands. I saw Sumedh, Bhargav, a lot of people. I saw them writing down things. So if you want to present something, feel entirely free to do that.
I won't take any offense, I promise.
Ram, let's begin with you. Just one quick point. You will have 1.5 minutes to give your evaluation.
Overall, I thought it was a very heavy topic, and she did a great job trying to get many heavy hitting thoughts into such a short speech. Didn't seem like it was 7 minutes before the time got called up. My thoughts are not very well organized, but I'll go over them. From the things that I remember, the transition from intro to the body of the speech, I think could have been better. The conclusion was clear. The pauses transitions were pretty clear, but I think between the intro and body, some more separation. Since the focus seemed to be question for yourself, think for yourself, to me that could have been more emphasized or structured so that that really stood out. It did come out a few times, but at least I couldn't really connect to the places where the examples were given and the emphasis on go and think about it. Having said it, have I wonder if you actually wanted people to not know about nihilism and try and surprise it. If you did, fine. Maybe you thought about it. Otherwise, I thought a sentence or two saying what nihilism was would have helped. But if it was going to be that it was a surprise, and I want you guys to think even about it, then good. Thank you.
Can I go next?
Thank you, Ram. Yes, Bhargav, absolutely.
So Shreya, first of all, disclaimer: I don't have many negative. I didn't find many negative points in your speech. So yeah, that's the disclaimer. So overall, it was a good speech. Uh, it was a great topic. In fact, an intellectual topic. I remember you have always been an advocate for this topic. I have seen you speak about, giving importance to all the other species as well, other than human beings, and your idea that the universe should not be human centric. You've talked loads about it so many times in our lunch discussions and all. So yeah, that reflected in your speech. It was kind of a very nice summary of whatever ideas you had, and the flow of speech was really nice. It was not too fast and not too slow. The content, as I said, it was good. You used some good hand gestures as well when you said the whole universe and all that. That was nice. And one great improvement, you didn't look sideways periodically. I remember in your previous speeches, you used to look there and here sometimes, and not directly into the camera. So that improved. But just one thing which I observed was whenever you were at the end of your speech, when it was conclusion, at the time of conclusion, there were few sentences. I just want to clarify whether you were asking questions or you were just telling it. You asked, you said, don't you think analysts feel love? Don't you analysts feel hunger? Was that a question or, if that was a question, it would have been framed in a better voice. You could have asked, don't you think they feel love? As a question. I didn't like the voice over there. I don't know what they call it, but I didn't like the this thing over there. So it would have been put as a question better, in a better way. So that's what I had. Thank you.
Next up is Sumedh. Before Sumedh proceeds with his evaluation, I would request Navjot and Srinivasan, if you have any evaluation and if you have any opinion and points about Shreya's speech, I would request either of you, both of you, to go after Sumedh. Sumedh, on to you.
Thanks, Hind. A good speech here. I have some points which I just wanted to bring out here. Your summary, so you summarized your speech at the end. That is one thing which I observed. I'll just compliment whatever Bhargav said by stating the hand gestures that was seen, and you were confident throughout, and you had a very narrative, talkative tone wherein you wanted to involve people who were listening to your speech. So these were some of the highlights on the positive side. Now, my concentration was where you could get better so that you can work more on those things. One, I found this speech a little convoluting. I think Ram actually mentioned it a little, wherein the topic I think was inner peace, and we spoke about nihilism. The connection between them, I think if we could have made that connection, this would have been much better. Voice modulation, I think that is what Bhargav was referring to at the end. If you could have made sure that your voice was modulated while you were making a point, and you could have gotten it a little low when you were just stating a fact maybe. Then one other thing wherein whenever you're talking about abstract topics like nihilism, you can give examples. Now, one example which people can usually talk with nihilism is God, but again, we don't talk about it here. That is where your preparation would have come in. So you could have said something like, if a burger is denied to me, what do I do? Don't I eat anything else? And brought in the concept that way. So I'm running out of time, but this is what I felt. Otherwise, it was a good speech.
One small correction, what I said, I always get confused between nihilist and annihilist. So whatever I said in my speech was annihilist, but it was just swap it with nihilist. So yeah, it has always been there.
Thank you, Sumedh. Thank you, Bhargav. Hi, Navjot. Hi, Srinivasan. Would you like to? All right, Srinivasan.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Hind. Hi, Shreya. I believe it was a very good speech, and I am really glad that I was able to hear your thoughts and viewpoints on the same. Only a couple of points which I would like to elaborate with you so that you could do better in the future. So, you started with the topic of inner peace and then moved on by asking us a question whether humans were supposed to be the supreme species. And what I believe was from the transition from the supreme species to the point where you said that we started praying to the elements of the earth, that could have been even more smoother, which I believe Ram and Sumedh also mentioned. So that is one point which I would like to highlight. And in the final conclusion, what I believe was some sentences were could have been grammatically better, like I am not and I was not, and to the love, when we were referring to the hunger and love which were being experienced by the nihilists. So these are a couple of points which I would like to highlight, but otherwise it was a really good speech, and I did not even feel that 7 minutes were going. So thanks a lot.
That was the shortest evaluation, but thank you very much, Srinivasan. That was a very good evaluation. I'm not going to evaluate the evaluation, but I'm going to invite any more evaluators if anybody else wants to speak about Shreya's speech. Yes, Navjot.
Hi, Shreya. So first, I would like to highlight the positive points of the speech. So overall, I found it thought-provoking. It was not an informative speech where we just get the information. We actually challenge our thoughts. So it was one of the positive points. And the jargon of the speech was good. It was interpretable, and it was simple and not at all complex. And other point I would like to compliment on the Bhargav's point, that expressions and hand gestures were plus points of the speech, and it was well concluded also. And one negative point I found was a bit, you in my opinion, you spent more than necessary time on the introduction, and the focus on the central idea was in the too later part of the speech. So that's one negative point I found in the speech. And yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Navjot. Now, I think all of us have given evaluation other than me, Supriya and Rahul. So I'll go now. Let me just can somebody time me for 1.5 minutes? All right. So feedback is the breakfast of champions, and I hope this leads you on your way to becoming a champion, Shreya. First of all, amazing speech. One thing that if I can highlight about this speech is when you were pulling away the point of view of humans from thousands of species, millions of species living on this planet being one of the smaller ones among the 9 planets that's revolving around a regular sized sun, and that's among the billions of stars in the galaxy, and that's also among millions of galaxies. So that pulling out the point of view of humans, that was very well done. And then when you from that point of view, when you went to the nihilistic part, that was very well done. And this kind of transition was something that I was hoping was present everywhere in the speech, which was not, which brings me to the points where you can improve. I will just highlight 2 points. There are some more which I will send to you either via mail or message. One, beginnings of a speech as small as a 7-minute speech matter a lot. Your disclaimer took 1.5 minutes. If you want to give a disclaimer, give it after you have given a punch. Punch is very important. Let people sit up and take notice. Second is structure. You had information, you had thought-provoking questions, all of them were there, but there was no demarcation within the speech where you could signify that I'm transitioning from one thought process to another, or there is a full stop here, and now there comes something else that I want to talk about. The structure of the speech as a whole was a single paragraph, and I would encourage you to not do that. With that, I think my time is up, so I'm gonna stop now and take the responsibility of SA back. So if anybody else wants to give the evaluation, let me know.
Yeah, I have very few points. Okay. So to begin with, right? So I really didn't know what nihilism means to begin with. This is the first time that I actually heard about nihilism in the speech. The topic was very intellectual, as someone already mentioned. If you had not given that example, or if you had not given that visualization that you said in the beginning, I probably wouldn't have even understood what you're trying to say in the second part. So I think that was actually very well done, trying to establish some kind of a base on top of which you're building something else. Apart from that, there was just one thing that I thought was missing. Actually, 2 things. One, which Sumedh already mentioned, how optimistic nihilism brings peace to you, because the title of the speech was Inner Peace. So I was thinking, how would using optimistic nihilism, basically what I understood was nihilism is something where you give up hope about something. Basically, you take everything at its face value and you don't consider much. And optimistic is where you try to bring in some optimism by saying, okay, this is something that I cannot comprehend, so let me just surrender to it and let me just go about things. So that was the contrast, but I didn't understand how, or it would have been much better if you could put it forward, how it can bring peace to someone, or how it brings peace to you in a much better way. Apart from that, I did find a little shortage of contrast between actual nihilism and optimistic nihilism. So maybe I didn't get it. Probably you actually spoke about it, but I don't understand very well as to how they are both. I know that it brings optimism, but if some kind of examples were there, it would have been much better, I felt. So apart from that, very well written speech, very intellectual. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Rahul. Now that we all have given our evaluations, I'll hand it over to the designated evaluator, Abhijit.
Still,
Well,
I thought we still had Supriya and Akshaya.
Supriya is not there in the
Are not
meeting,
there.
and I think Akshay joined a little bit later within the speech. So I'm Akshay, if you have evaluations, I'm sorry to prejudge. Feel free to come forth and give your evaluation.
Actually, I'll send it as a mail to share later because I did not hear half of the speech. I only heard the middle part. So I mean, I don't want to judge the what. I mean, I don't want to imagine what she would have told in the beginning and what she would have told at the end. Uh, so yeah. So, but actually, the points which I noted down are in complete contradiction to what Hind said. I thought like I mean, I was imagining that you had a very good beginning, and you started off with a question that got everybody to kind of be very curious about what she is talking about. But this is all in my head, but it looks like something else happened. So I would like to reserve my comments and have a look at the video and then ping back to you. However, what is one feedback which I wanted to give is I was looking for any personal set of experience which you could have said that would have made the account more relatable, because for some part of it I was just groping in the dark as to how do I make sense, because I mean, to add some dash of any personal experience or something would have made it more viable to everyone who is listening, because as someone said, this speech was highly intellectual. So for the sake of people who are laymen or who are commoners, maybe uh, uh, some dash of a personal experience could have made it more viable. So that is one feedback which I just wanted to share quickly. Thank you.
Right. Finally, Akshay, thank you very much. Shreya, I think you are already inundated with a lot of feedback, and now let me invite your designated evaluator to give you much more of it. Welcome, Abhijit.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Shreya, this was a wonderful speech. And I'm very honest when I say that it's one of the, if I were to grade some of the recent speeches that we have had in our club, this kind of goes pretty high in that list. I think overall, if I were to, just say that this topic was very hard, it didn't really seem like that from the title that is a very hard topic. So first of all, congratulations for attempting that. I think people would not dare to do that. So let me just start by saying that there are three things that I would like to mention that you did really well. Some of them might have an overlap with what has already been mentioned. So let's start from the start. Structure and organization. The first thing, I think your opening was tremendous. You actually took, I would say, 10-15 seconds to acknowledge the audience. I don't know if it was a deliberate tactical move. If it was, I think it was a brilliant one. If it wasn't, in any case, it was a great courtesy that you extended to everybody, because sometimes we just take these things for granted, right? I mean, listening to somebody and giving them honest feedback is something that we all strive for, but not everybody extends that courtesy, doesn't put in the time. So I think that was a great start. The topic you chose was hard to describe, as I said, but it was still very relatable. It's something that we all have some sense of. So I think whether we have found a solution or some form of solution or is secondary. So the topic choice itself was great. You asked questions and you waited for response. I think that is critical, and that's something that maybe is not described as much. Asking question becomes something that people start embracing, but sometimes in nervousness you don't wait for the audience to answer, but you did that. So I think that was a great thing that you did. Finally, the message, that main message I liked was happiness lies in your hand. So I think that was really, really good. And overall, I think it gave your whole story a really nice flavor of positivity. Second, gestures. I remember when you said put the full stop, and then you did a lot of things there by going away from the camera and creating your own virtual stage. That's very important, given that we don't have a physical stage right now. So it's every effort that you can do to bring that to life. is going to give you more expression and more freedom, and your audience more a better enriching experience. So I think that was a great job. You also went towards dramatization a little bit, and that was, I think, a good thing that you tried to introduce. So good job there. Finally, the other thing that I really liked was about the vocabulary. It's probably not been talked about. I think the usage of words was really well done. And the main thing that I got from there was the content was very thoughtfully written, which is always great for an audience to feel that way, that the speaker is serious about coming and speaking in front of them. Now, things that could be better. It's been talked about that this thought is hard to internalize, but then I think for something like this, one thing that you can try to guide yourself with is this thought: simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The more you're able to crystallize its things into and make it very simple, that in itself is an art, hard to develop, but something that you can challenge yourself in future speeches. Akshaya touched upon more examples to drill the point in. I think it's very important. It will bring the relatability quotient even higher and give the audience more to look towards your speech as to what they can get out of. Second thing was about nihilist. I frankly didn't really get the pronunciation. I've not heard about it before. And if you could stress a little bit on the usage as well as the spelling, because people would not really get to see that in a video. And so if they want to Google, they will be kind of trying to come up with something. So could have been better. Finally, connecting the story to the main point better. I think that has been talked about, but one sub point of it would be your summary at the end was, I think, restricted to your own experience. If you would have given a comprehensive summary connecting all the different pieces of your thoughts in the speech, that would have been awesome. One last thought to challenge yourself. I think you're already presented a very advanced speech, I must say. And if you can think about it more and plan your gestures for certain emotions rather than just using gestures somewhere and loosely make them fit. So that will require some extra effort, but that's something you can try to challenge yourself with. All in all, great job. That was an awesome speech. Don't be perturbed by the dissection of the speech that you got today. I think that's all we strive for. It's all in good spirit, but I think it was a great speech. I'm looking forward to many more in the future.
I know
Okay.
that I'm not supposed to talk here, but can I just take 1 minute? Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you, guys. I was really apprehensive of this. Firstly, because I didn't think people would join, and secondly, I didn't think people would evaluate. But it looks like you guys are even more enthusiastic than I am, and I'm really grateful. I really like the way all of you structured the evaluation very well, with positive points as well as points that I can grow on, and I really appreciated it. So thank you.
And now the award for best evaluator goes to myself. Thank you. I did an awesome evaluation. I am sorry, rest of the evaluators. Just kidding. So this meeting was an attempt to get back to this basic design of our meeting and this basic aspect of growing up in Toastmasters. Yes, we want to speak. Yes, we want to do impromptu speeches. Yes, we want to do a lot of table topic sessions where people come up and speak. Yes, we want to do all of those things. But we should realize and we should understand that if there is no reflection of our words, if there is no way that our words can bounce back to us, there is no way that we can understand or comprehend all the ways that lie in front of us to grow, to better ourselves. And I think beyond having fun, the number one thing that at least I want to do here in Toastmasters is be better. Doesn't matter if it's minuscule amount, but be better. And feedback is the most crucial thing about it, the most crucial part of it. If you give 20 speeches with a very quiet, very dumb audience listening to you, you will give the same speech 20 times. We should understand that and we should realize that, and we should always strive to give feedback because that's the only way we can receive some. That's the basic, I guess, barter system of courtesy. That's how it works. with that, I am going to open this room up for any feedback for the meeting, or any points that anybody wants to say. Otherwise, we are good to go in a short span of 40 minutes today. All right, then I am going to stop recording. Thank you everybody for joining. See you next week.